Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. What's up, Mystical Yunori? Happy to have you in here. One of the first to be in here. Shout out to Leo Wichi redeeming the first. He's actually the first to redeem it, but Yuno's the first one in the chat. So shout outs to the both of y'all. Let me get my shout outs. Let me get them out the way also. Shout out at Mystical Yunori. Streaming coming really soon, real soon. They have a rebrand in the works, so I'm really excited to see what they bring and how they adjust to this rebrand for what they have going on. So please be on the lookout for that. There is a shout out cooldown timer, so I'm gonna wait to do my next shout outs. But while we wait, welcome in everybody. Hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. You know when you feel a sneeze coming on and you like, let me prepare myself, right? But welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to the new viewers. Welcome into the returning viewers, the Four Seasons community. I'm happy to have you here. I am your host, Four Seasons. That's spelled Ivsznz. And this is a space curated by us all to be open, honest, and vulnerable surrounding the topics of mental health, relationships, self-esteem, goal setting, goal achieving, and accountability. So that is where we're at. What's up, Young Cash? What's up, bro? I'm happy to have you in here. Happy to see you in here. I very much so am. Hope you are having a great day. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the topic, let's just talk for a little bit. Let's just yap. So how are we feeling? What's on our minds right now? For me, I'm feeling pretty good. I know last week I was telling you guys I had a neck injury and it was bothering me, and it's much better this week than it was last week. I still have a little pain, especially like when I'm sleeping or when I'm getting up from sleep. I feel it, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was that Thursday. So yeah. Also, story time. So that Thursday night after I got off a stream, I did some gaming with some of my gaming buddies, and when I went to sleep, I tried to go to sleep, I couldn't, right? And so my neck was in so much pain, I couldn't turn, I couldn't, I lay on my stomach when I go to sleep. That's the most comfortable for me. Laying on my back just feels so awkward and so weird. I can't go to sleep laying on my back. So for the most part, I lay on my stomach or I lay on my side, and both of those things were not possibilities in the moment. And so I was in so much pain. I tried to go to sleep, and it got to like 4 or 5 a.m. where I was like, okay, this is too much. So I drove myself to the ER, and they did their checks and whatnot, and from the fact that I was able to move and the fact that I didn't have pain in specific areas, they ruled out that anything was broken, which is great. That's a blessing. What they really believe it was like a pulled muscle, a sprained muscle, and yeah, that's going to take some time to heal. They said about 2 weeks or so for me to be fully recovered. So I'm just being patient. They gave me some pain meds, so I'm taking those as I feel pain. But all in all, I'm thankful and grateful that it is not as bad as it was last week. Leo Wichi says, good, alive, hot AF. Bro. Sir. Gonna get back right to that. Mystical, are your knees okay? What you mean? My knees are fine. I got mega knees. What you mean, boy? We're not even gonna do that. Not even gonna do that. Mystical, I'm the gaming buddy. Yes, you are one of the three that make up the four of us that are my gaming group, my gaming buddy. So shout outs to you. But y'all, it is hot. It is hot. Hase calor. Hase calor? Isn't it hase calor? It's hot, y'all. It got over 100 today and yesterday. And then we had the nerve to have Bible study at the hottest time of the day yesterday. I was like, you know what? Lord, you know my heart. I'm going to get through it. I had my I had my fan with me. I had my water. I had my towel because the nigga gets sweaty. I be hot. But I was prepared, you know. And from what I'm hearing, that it's supposed to be like this for the rest of the week. If y'all know one thing about me, 4 seasons, I don't like all 4 seasons of the year. I don't. My favorite season or time is fall right into winter, right into winter. That's where I'm my happiest. I hate being hot. I am a sweater. I don't like it. I don't like being hot. It just grinds my gears. I feel like people who say they hate cold, you can always add layers. When you're hot, you can only take off so many layers, you know, to be decent. How about that? So I'd rather be cold where I can add things to keep me warm versus being hot and there's nothing I can really do about it. I can't take my skin off, you know. But you know, it's a blessing in all in everything, you know. That's how the world works in 4 seasons. But it is what it is, you know. I'm in a place where I'm thankful for my AC. I'm thankful for my fans. I'm thankful for my water. I'm thankful for all of those things, right? But also in the same breath, I hate the hot. I hate being hot. Leoshi says, now if you don't come back, you're funny. Joker to Society, what's up, bro? Hot. Say hot. Say hot in Lyric's voice. Hot. That's exactly what it is. So what's up, Sirte Money? I'd rather be hot. Keep that. I can't do cold. Okay, sure. Well, a good balance is always perfect. All right. That's okay, sure. I'm gonna let y'all have whatever temperature. You know what? This is what we're gonna do since we're all in here. In the chat, put in your ideal temperature that you have for your house, that you are comfortable with, that if you go in, go out, you'll be like cool. While y'all do that, I'm gonna catch up on the chat. Young Cash says, I told you about wrestling those alligators. You're funny. I don't do none of the sort. I was doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing, but you know, I'm here. You know, I'm here. Joker to Society says, my J just lit it. You're funny in this heat. The heat just lit it, J, for you. It'd be like that. You could probably go outside and put on a car and it'll light up. It should do that. One Trick Luna, what's up, One Trick? Welcome in. I'll have to do my shout outs, y'all. Leo, and then I'm gonna go down the list like it was. I gotta be on it. One Trick Luna says, I'm doing well, off the next couple of days on a high. Okay, say that. I'm happy to hear that. Sarte Money says, my house don't be hot or cold. What is the ideal temperature for y'all, for your house? For me, hold on, I'm gonna tell you. 1 second. Okay, so my thermostat is set to 70. I don't like it any hotter. I can't do it any hotter, especially. Okay, it's at 70, but sometimes if I really want to get that chill, 69, 68. And I like a good chill in the morning, right? For me, this is me. I hate going to sleep hot and I hate waking up hot. It's weird to me. But I like going to sleep cold, and I like waking up cold because that chill gets me going, right? Because it's that chill that when you get out of bed, you get hit with it. And I'll be like, especially when you gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, I love that. That is my zhuzh. What's up, A Wise Dream? Thank you for the 22-month sub. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Young Cash says 69 is my favorite number and everything. Okay, sure. All right. Y'all funny. But all in all, that's where I like my stuff to be. Joker Decisive is not going to check though. Capricorn. Exactly. I'm gonna be specific on the information that I give y'all. It's the integrity of it all, and that's the word of the week this week. So we're gonna dive more into that as we get through this introduction. Sarte Money says, "Oh no, waking up cold is a no for me. You rather wake up hot? That's what? No." One Trick says, "Keep it 80 unless I'm going to bed." 80? Yuck. My goodness, no, 80 degrees. And see, this is the kind of conversations that we need to know that whenever we're living with people, if we can live with them, because I could never live with anybody who keeps their house at 80 degrees. What? No bueno at all. Leo, what she says, my butt would be in the hospital. Say that. A wise dream. 80? My goodness, everybody, yeah. And the crazy thing is, for One Trick Luna to be saying that 80 degrees is an ideal temperature, but there are Luna Snow, main on Marvel Rivals, who is an ice character, make it make sense. Make it make sense. But you know, I'm not going to yuck nobody's yum. I am going to yuck somebody's yum because 80 degrees is too hot for me, even if I'm not sleeping. Just period. 80 degrees and sitting in it is too much. Not a fan. But to each their own, you know. So we're done with our introductions for the most part, I guess. We gonna keep it there. So we just gonna segue into our second part of our introductions called the line dynamic, right? And so let me do not One Trick says I'm done answering questions. That is hilarious. No, I would say this is a safe space, but I guess not compared to freaking AC temperatures, because ain't no way. But all in all, it's all love here. Everybody has their own preference of what they want their temperature to be in their house, and I can't come into your house and dictate and tell you what not to have it. Just like you can't come into my house and say that 70, 69 degrees is too cold. Get out, you know. But it is what it is. You know, we like what we like. We're all different, and that's the beauty of us being human. We have the ability to make our own decisions, to change our minds, and do what we need to do. Thank you, Leo Wichi, for doing the shout outs, bro. You know, I be lost sometimes. It'd be taking me a while. I'd be like, oh, I gotta shout out somebody. But yeah, so with that being said, let us move into the podcast. We're 24 minutes in, and y'all, we just yap. And I said we was just gonna yap, but we gotta have some content. We gotta have some structure, you know. So, where is it? Perfect. So what we have here is the line dynamic, and this is what we have been using for the past 3 seasons maybe, for the podcast, where we have a visual representation of where we're at, where our mindset is at in the moment, right? And so with the line dynamic, we have 3 tiers. Now we have 3 tiers, and I'll explain each of them going from top to bottom about what they mean, how they interact with each other, and how we can use them to express how we're feeling in the moment, right? So starting from top to bottom, the line dynamic, being above the line. So as you guys can see by these emojis where it says above, happy, ecstatic, chill, which I wish I was chill, joyful, you know, inquisitive, if you will. Those represent that we're in a good mindset. We're operating at a high, a natural high, if you will, right? And when we are above the line, or specifically for me, when I am above the line, or when I'm operating in a space being above the line, if I have anything extra, you know, if I have anything, an extra oomph to give to somebody, I try to pour into those close to me, right? Because what I learned in my 35 years of living, I've learned that while we have to put ourselves first, if we get to a place where we do put ourselves first and we have enough to give to the ones around you, pour into those that you care about, that care about you, because we all want to be together. We all want to be in the same level, you know? So I don't really enjoy being above the line where the rest of my friends are either on the line or below it, right? Because I'm not able to operate in my truth, because I'm so worried about my friends, right? I'm so worried about those close to me, my family members, those who may not be above the line with me, right? So if I do have the capacity to pour into them, that is one of the first things I do, because I don't want to be up here by myself, you know? So that is what it means to be above the line. Things are good. Things are great. We feel good. That's the mindset of what it means to be above the line, right? So as we go down to the second floor, which states on the line, and as you guys can see by the emojis, it is very much straight face, right? And so when we think of being on the line, for me, I think that's the base level, right? You're neither happy nor sad. Things are okay for you. And what I'm realizing is that when we are operating on the line, a lot of us, that is our constant, just being okay, right? Whereas when we're above the line or below the line, those are just moments. But the consistency lies for most of us as being on the line, just okay. And being okay is okay, you know? It just means that you're maintaining. And in this generation and in this country, if you guys are in the USA, sometimes that's all we really can do. Sometimes that's all the energy we have to muster up, is to just be okay, to just be present for the day, right? And I don't look at it as a good or bad thing. I just look at it as a real thing, as an honest thing. For me, you know, when I am operating on the line, I try to find something that's going to teeter me upwards towards being above the line. Definitely not teetering me down. But honestly, whenever I am on the line, sometimes it's easier for me to fall down below the line more so than going up above, right? So I try to find a balance, right? I try to find a space for me to be okay, feel my feelings, but not let them dictate how I feel, right? Look at the positive, but not ignoring the negative. Knowing that the negative is there, but not ignoring it completely. Not giving it all the attention that the positivity needs, but also just acknowledging that, hey, this is here, right? And so last but definitely not least is the third and final tier of the line dynamic, called being below the line. And as you guys can see by these emojis here listed at the bottom, angry, sad, disgusted, shocked, frustrated. I don't know if those are the actual names of the emojis, but that's what I think it is, right? But when we're below the line, that's what that means. We're not in a good space. Things are bad for us. We may be so far below the line that we aren't able to see the good in things. We're not able to see the positive on the other side, right? And for me, when I do get to a space where I am so far below the line, what I tend to do is isolate for a bit. Specifically because knowing myself and knowing who I am, whenever I am so far below the line, I don't want any of my interactions with the people that I care about to be fueled by my feelings of being low, right? Because I've been in situations where I've had friends, I've had family members who will be below the line, right? And their sadness, their negativity, or whatever they're going through bleeds onto me, right? And then eventually I start feeling like they're feeling, right? And so because I'm so cognizant on how that affected me in the past, I try my very best to make sure that I don't do that to those close to me. So that is why I isolate, right? And so in my isolation, I give it to God. I spend time with God. I talk to God about everything that is happening, good, bad, or indifferent, right, in my life at that moment. I ask for guidance. I ask for understanding. I ask for forgiveness, you know, because some of the things that we may be dealing with, we put ourselves into it, right? So yeah, I tend to isolate until I get to a point where God has led me in the direction of, okay, now it's time to reach out to your support system, right? And so for me, my support system could look vastly different than your support system, but my support system consists of my family, my friends. It consists of therapy or professional help. And last but definitely not least, God, my church family, my church leaders, my pastors, and all those things of the sort, right? And when I'm getting out of that place where I'm not bleeding on others, or I'm able to articulate how I'm feeling without it being so emotionally driven, that is when I'm able to reach out to all those branches of my support system. And I reach out to all of them at the same time, because I know that something out of those branches from those support systems is going to spring me up, right? It's going to take me to at least being on the line, right? Ultimately, it may just shoot me all past being on the line and straight me to being above the line, right? And so I take my time with God. I let him lead me in my thoughts and my actions. And then once I get to a point where I'm not bleeding, I reach out to my support system. Eventually shooting me up from being below the line to being on the line or even above the line. So with that explanation out of the window, I'm going to give you guys a few moments to write it in the chat. Let me know where you guys are at using the line dynamic, and then we'll get back into the conversation shortly. All right, we are back. I'll turn this all the way down. We are back. Okay, let me catch up on the chat. 1 second, y'all. Liuichi says, make sure you all go and support and follow your fellow childers. Yeah, support everybody, y'all. Everybody in here, I think, in the chat does some type of content creation here on Twitch or other platforms. So it's a community for us all to share each other's work, to be a part, to be a family, if you will, you know. So please support everybody, most definitely. One trick W mod. I'm above the line. Got so much to be grateful for. Okay, one trick. I'm happy to hear that. I am. Joker to Society says, I'm on the line, growing into above the line. Got blessed with a job offer today. Let's go. Let's put some, I need to get some emojis. Y'all help me with that. Let's put some type of cheering emoji in the chat for Joker to Society, because this job market is disgusting. They want you to do 15,000 backflips and all this other stuff just to get, basic level stuff. So for those who are able to get jobs in this climate, shout outs to y'all. That's nothing but a blessing. So shout out to you, brother. I am very proud of you, man. I very much so am. Surte Money says, above the line, 4-day weekend. Okay, you and One Trick both got a 4-day weekend. Y'all on it. I need whatever y'all got. Shout outs to y'all. Wise Dream says, nah, we thrive off of negativity. Friend, you're funny. Leo, what she says, this nigga, right? This nigga. What's up, Love CPS NJ, above the line? I am happy to hear that. I am. Wise Dream says, feeling pretty above the line today. 3-day weekend is here. Is everybody off for 3-4 days now? Is there a holiday? Oh, it's 4th of July weekend. I'm sitting here thinking that it's something that I'm not a part of, that I'm missing out. No, it's the 4th of July weekend, of course. Duh, I didn't know that. Leo Uchi says, nah, I'm a bit above the line today. I am happy to hear that, brother. I am above for this 4-day weekend. Say that. Hopefully y'all have some great, safe, sane fun this weekend. Please be safe, y'all. It's crazy. Please be safe. So yeah, that's where we're at. Where am I at on the line? I'm above the line. If y'all can't tell with the energy that I have today, I'm above the line. I'm thankful and grateful of what God is doing in my life and the people God has surrounded me. The people that God has surrounded me with. Today was a great day. As you guys know, I work in admin at my church, and there was a funeral that I had to attend with my bishop. And going into it, I was kind of like, I was praying, because funerals, they're sad. But the way that the funeral was led by my bishop, and then everybody who had a part in helping Bishop with it, it flowed amazingly. It was a lot of laughs, One of the brothers at the church is a comedian, and he's really funny. And so he was emceeing the funeral, and he did an amazing job at bringing out the levity in the situation. Like I said, funerals, as we all know, are hard. They're sad. They're filled with a lot of emotions, right? but he was able to bring out so much laughter from everybody there. And I was just so impressed at the ability for us to change that atmosphere, right? We were able to shift those feelings. We were able to shift it from, yes, people were mourning and grieving still, but they were able to find laughter and joy in the same breath. So that whole experience today just really, it did something to me in a good way. So I'm thankful and grateful that all of my support system is here in the chat. I'm thankful for you guys. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm very much above the line, and I'm happy about that. I really am. I'm thankful for about that, because like I said, last week, y'all, I was in pain. And while I am still in a little bit of pain, it is not nearly as bad as it was last week. And that's all thanks to God. He is leading me. He is healing me. He is protecting me. He is guiding me. So yeah, I'm very much thankful for that. And that's a big part of why I am above the line today. So with that being said, let me catch up on chat. 4 days not over here. Big holiday weekend. Joker to Society, please be safe. July 4th and Halloween worst are the best days for blank near insolvable violence. Yes, please chill out. Just be happy. Be happy drunks if y'all can. Well, don't be drunk, but just be happy tipsy people. You know, be buzzed. Just be happy. Don't be angry, crazy people out here. There's no point in that, you know. Sarte Money says, a support system, we hear that. Yes, y'all are, and I'm thankful for all of y'all. So with that being said, our line dynamic out of the way, let us move into the meat and potatoes of the episode, right? So the word of the week for this week is integrity, y'all. Give me your first thoughts when you hear or see the word integrity. I'm going to give you guys a few moments to gather your thoughts, and then we will talk about them more here shortly. All right, and we are back. So my question to you all is, what are your first thoughts when you hear or see the word integrity? For me, first thing that comes to mind is keeping my word, being a man of my word. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I think about how I used to make false promises, make promises to people that I didn't keep. Not because I intentionally didn't want to keep them, but I wasn't as disciplined in myself and in the things that I was saying to people as I am now. So I would say those are my first thoughts when I think of the word integrity. I'm going to leave it all to you guys for you to give me some of your information, your thoughts, your first thoughts when you guys see or hear the word integrity. Oh, let me see. What? Okay. Sarte Money says, that's a great word for the week. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. A Wise Dream says, keeping to your values without compromise, integrity. Okay. Leo Wichi says, your values or morals. All right. One Trick Luna says, being genuine and standing on business for say. If you say you're going to do something, do that ish. Say that for the people in the back. Sarte Money says, as shift lead, I stand on integrity every day. Yes, sir. As you should, man. As you should. Joker to Society says, understanding your worth and accountability to hold on to it through obstacles thrown your way. Oh, that's powerful. Love CPS NJ says, honest, morals, trustworthy. Beautiful, y'all. I think we're all on the same wavelength when it comes to what our first thoughts are for integrity. So, courtesy of Merriam-Webster and them niggas, integrity is firm adherence to a code of especially moral or artistic values. Another definition is an unimpaired condition, the quality or state of being complete or undivided. All right, so we got our first thoughts out of the way. We got the clear-cut definition of what integrity is out of the way. Let us talk. Let us yap. Let us discuss integrity on this day. So, what we usually do here is we break the word down into 4 seasons of understanding, which is mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, right? And so we're going to talk about integrity from those 4 standpoints. I'm going to freestyle a little bit of it because I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to be as transparent as I am with you guys, you know. As you guys know, most of you guys know, I'm very... I like having structure. I like having clear-cut steps on what's happening before, what's happening currently, and what's happening next, right? And so for this episode today, we're gonna do a little bit of freestyling. We're gonna still stick into the 4 seasons of understanding, but the content within those 4 seasons is going to be based off of my thoughts and feelings in this moment. And I encourage you guys to share your thoughts as well, right? So season 1 is the spring season. So that is where we think of things mentally, where our mental is, right? So we're going to look at integrity in a lens of what am I learning, right? And so I can use this example. Working in the church, I have a keen sense of what integrity looks like with the other ministry leaders or those of the sort, right? I've encountered some people who are good at keeping their word. I have encountered those who may not, right? And through it all, still, I love them all equally, right? Because they're my brothers and sisters in Christ. But do I like it all the time? No, you know. But for me, what I'm realizing is when I see people who lack integrity in the things that they do and the things that they say, I have to take a extra look at myself to make sure that I am doing what I'm saying I'm going to do, right? So back in my past, like I said, there were times where I would say I would do stuff but not. And then I'm the type of person where I would say I would do something, but I would anticipate the canceling of what I said I was going to do by the other person or the other party, so I would get out of it, right? And that's not good. That's not good either, because all in all, what I'm realizing is if I say that I'm going to do something or that I can do something, I have to do it for my sake more so than anybody else's sake, because I have lived a life and I had experience with certain people who are not who they say they were. Who would lie to my face for their own personal gain, who would trick me or use me for whatever resources that I had or things that they wanted from me, all because that they wanted it, not because that they cared for me, that they cared about how I viewed them or our relationship, our friendship of the sort. And it just made me really take a look at myself, because I was starting to turn into that type of person, being hurt, being jaded. It put me in a space where I was like, I don't really care what anybody thinks, you know? Well, I guess it's a good and bad thing, but it got to an extreme where I did not care. I didn't care about other people's feelings. I didn't care about how my actions affected them. I did not care about how my absence affected them. Because I'm the type of person where I like my space. I like my isolation. I like my alone time. And I think that may come from being an only child, where I just have leaned into it for a majority of my life. But not being present for people that you say you're present for hurts just as much as if somebody could physically hurt you, right? Because it's betrayal. You feel let down. And I don't ever want to put anybody in that space where they feel like I'm intentionally hurting them, or I don't care about how they feel, because that's not the case in my case right now. And so I'm learning that by watching other people, it is holding up a mirror to myself to make sure that I'm not emulating what I'm seeing from those around me, right? So yeah, that's the first season of integrity that we're going to talk about, is mental. So what am I learning? Season 2 is the summer season, which it feels like that now. So season 2 is a summer season where we talk about the physicalness of whatever we're talking about, the word of the week. So integrity in the physical sense. So what am I doing, right? And so where I'm at nowadays, I am very much cautious when it comes to making promises or lending my time in the future, right? Saying that I can do something for somebody in the future or be present, right? I do a lot of looking into self. I do a lot of taking it to God, right? Before I even answer, if somebody, hey, what you got, da, 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 da. I said, let me get back with you. Let me check my schedule and let me get back with you. And the fact that I am a personal assistant and I have a lot of the different things going on, it's not a lie. I very much do have to check my schedules. I do have to coordinate certain things before I now engage or accept an engagement or an activity or an event. So yeah, that is something I do now. I have to pause before I say, yeah, I can do it. I have to pause. I have to wait. I have to think to myself. I have to talk to God and then give that answer, right? And in doing that for the past year and a half now, I've noticed that the people I do show up for really, really appreciate me showing up for them. Because I don't have to, we all have free will. We don't have to do the things we don't want to. But where I'm at, I want to help and be present for those that care about me, for those that are in my life, for those that are part of my support system. Y'all guys in the chat, So I do my very best to hold integrity, to be a man of my word, right? Because all we have is our word, And I have been in a myriad of situations and a myriad of situationships, relationships, friendships where I have been let down by people who do not keep their word, for people who do not hold integrity close to their heart. So I never want to be that type of person. So what I do, like I said, I check before I answer. I check with myself. I check with God. I check with my schedule. I check if I have the capacity, if I have the energy or mental fortitude to deal with whatever I'm being requested or asked to do. And then once I do all those checks, I give an answer, right? And the answer is the answer for me is usually not based off of feeling. It's based off of what is it that I want to do? And if is me serving and helping them going to help them move in a better direction, right? And for the most times, it goes to that answer, right? And so I never feel bad for helping out or being present for those that need it, because I'm going to be in a space where I would need those people to be present for me, right? So I have to emulate the example that I want to see in those other people, right? So I'm going to be the person that, okay, if I say yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a better attitude. I'm not going to have a pissy mood or any of that stuff, So that is what I am actively doing. That is what I'm physically doing when it comes to integrity. So now we're going to move into season 3, which is an emotional season. So we're going to talk about integrity from a lens or a standpoint from what am I experiencing. And I think I talked a little bit about this in the mental season, but we can reiterate. I've been hurt by a lot of people. I have been led on. I have been lied to. I've been abused by a lot of people. And not to say that I haven't done the same in return to some people, because, I used to live by the rule of karma. And sometimes karma didn't come around fast enough for me to be content. So I would enact the karma, which is not right. I don't live in that space anymore. I give everything to God right now. I ain't gonna fight you. I ain't gonna physically fight you. I ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't gonna mess up your life. I'm gonna give everything to God, and God's going to protect me and lead me in the right direction to not have to think or have those feelings for those people anymore. But after experiencing those things, it really opened my mind, opened my eyes up to, shout out to Sarte Money for the bits. I just saw that. Thank you for the cheers. So whenever I experienced those things, those hurt, the betrayal from the people in my past, where I'm at today, like I said, I give it to God. I try not to harp on the hurt that has happened to me in the past, because what happened happened, right? And we have our good days, we have our bad days, and we have our days in between, And I'm trying my best to take those experiences as those experiences that happened in the past, and not bring that baggage with me to future relationships, future friendships, which is not easy. It's not easy. Because once you get hurt by so many people, you feel it's hard for you to trust. It's hard for you to open up, because it's like, man, am I going to get hurt again? Am I going to get betrayed again? Am I going to get led on again? Am I going to get lied on again? Am I going to get used again? Right? But not everybody's out to get us, and I'm leaning more into being more emotionally intelligent with my actions than I was previously before my younger years. Right? And so just because someone hurt me in my past, I'm not going to bring that baggage onto somebody else, because they didn't deserve it, unless they show me that they deserve it. But if there's no inkling or evidence that this person is going to hurt me like those other people have done before, then there's no need for me to bring that baggage to that person, to that relationship, to that friendship, right? And because of those experiences, and it's so interesting how God is using me, though. Even through all the hurt and all the pain that I've experienced, all the times I've been let down, I still am me. I'm still have the energy. I have the humor. I have the sarcasm. I have the joy, the happiness. I smile. I laugh. I still have those things going. I still experience those emotions. And I'm not letting the past dictate how I lead myself, how I live my life. I can't. Because if I did, I wouldn't be here in front of y'all. I wouldn't be alive if I did that, right? Or in jail. But I digress. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the things that I experienced in the past are not going to dictate my future. And because of that, I cannot bring those things in the past to those who are present in my life, who have not shown that they're going to do those things to me, and those who may be in the future of my life, So I'm learning to put the past in the past and look forward to the future with God. Last but definitely not least is the 4th season of understanding, which is the winter season, which is, I can't wait, is the spiritual season, right? So we're going to talk about integrity in a spiritual sense. What is God revealing? And so for me, I would say, just trying to order my words. Lead me, God. Ever since I have been 10 toes down for the church, working in the church, being present for all these events and whatnot, God has revealed to me that where I'm at now and how I'm operating in a space of good integrity. I'm operating in a space of showing that I am a man of my word, right? So if I'm asked to do something for Bishop, like I said, I give it to God first before I answer, before I don't want to be made out to be a liar to the bishop. But I give it to God, and God gives me the yes. I say yes. And then I do my due diligence to make sure that I get whatever I need done how he needs it to be, how God needs it to be, right? And in doing so, and as I've been doing that, I've been getting a lot of praise. I've been getting a lot of compliments about my work ethic. I've been getting a lot of compliments about how I do the things. And when I tell you I'm not in it to get compliments, while I love getting compliments, I don't do it for that. I do it for God and myself for the most part, because I want to be a walking embodiment of what it means to be a man of your word, right? I want to be a reflection of what it is to be honest about the things that we're going through, to be transparent about the times that we mess up, the times that we fall short, and this platform, the stream, Twitch, and being a part of this 4 seasons podcast for 3 seasons now, y'all. it has really tested me and has really challenged me to really be a man of my word, right? So being consistent with streaming. Yes, there are times where I'm not as consistent. I let you guys know, hey, I ain't streaming today because I got this, and this going on, right? But I will never be in a space where, knock on wood, God willing, I will never be in a space where I will intentionally go back on my word, right? There are things that happen in life, because life be lifing, right? There are things that happen where things are out of our control, right? I may have said I was going to do something, and something tumultuous may have happened that is preventing me physically from being present for whatever I said I was going to be present for. That's just life, right? But if it's within my control, I'm not going to go back on my word. I'm going to be a man of my word, because I want to be surrounded by people who are men and women of their word. Because there are so many people out here who are liars, who are scammers. Y'all, this Carisha song that they got going on, while I get people, love the scamming all the niggas. Sure, y'all love that. But we have to be cognizant of what we're listening to. I don't want nobody that's a scammer in my life. I don't want nobody that's a booster, that's stealing stuff, that is being dishonest, deceitful. Because if they're doing that to other people, what makes you think you're going to be exempt for them doing it to you? I don't want to be around that energy. That's not God energy. That is of the devil. If somebody's talking about scamming, stealing, all that stuff, that's not good. I don't want to be around that, right? So I'm very, very particular about what I'm saying, what I'm listening to, who I'm being around, you have to be, because the things that we listen to affect our integrity, right? The more you listen to certain things, the more you're going to be influenced by those things, right? Especially if kids are singing these songs about stealing and stuff, they going to do that because that's what kids do. And even adults, we don't realize that the things that we listen to consistently dictate or lead our lives, right? So if we're listening to negativity, stealing, killing, sex, drugs, murder, all that stuff, what makes you think that's not going to be in the forefront of your mind? What makes you think that's not going to lead you in your life, right? So when it comes to spiritual integrity, God is revealing to me that I need to be more intentional and stay the course of being a man of my word. I need to be cautious of the things that I'm absorbing, even if it's not just from person A to person B, but something around that I may be hearing or being a part of, right? God is revealing that to me, and I have to do my due diligence to make sure that I'm listening to him and keeping my eyes open for those things that are made to have us drift, are made to have us lose our integrity, right? So that is where I'm at. I do have a video I want to show to y'all. Very, very short, probably like 5 minutes, I think it's 5 minutes. Let's see. And it's this man, I don't know who this is. Again, the videos that I find, they seem, for the first couple seconds, seem to be in tandem with the topic at hand. So we're going to see if this is on the same wavelength with what we're talking about today. Let's see. What's up, Miss Courtney93? Thank you for stopping in. Hey, y'all. Late as hell, what I miss. So the word of the week is integrity. And we were just talking about what it means to be people of our word, keeping our word, and staying true to what we say and to our beliefs and whatnot. So with that being said, y'all, we are at the end of the podcast tonight. Big shout outs to each and every one of you guys who showed up into the chat. Thank y'all so much, my support system. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to the new viewers, the new followers, the subs, the lurkers, and everybody in between. Shout out to the Four Seasons community for always showing up and showing out. You guys mean the world to me. So what we're going to do now is our wrap up, and a big part of our wrap up is know for sure, right? And so the know for sure topic is something that I know for sure from the beginning of this episode to the end. So I know for sure that being a man of integrity is not an easy thing, because there are times where I want to let my emotions or my flesh fly free and do whatever they want to do. But I know that if I do that, if I allow them to do that, my relationships with the people close to me are not going to be as strong. They will not take my word for what it is, right? And I think the biggest thing for me is that knowing that all we really have is our word. And so making sure that what we say to other people is fact. What we say to the people is something we're going to follow through with. Because I never want to be in a space where people don't take my word for what it is, or people take my word for granted. So I would say that is something I know from sure from the beginning of this episode to where we're at now. So now, shameless plugs, y'all. I am a life coach, and I have a coaching experience called Through the Seasons. And it's a 4-week coaching experience where I walk with you through whatever season you're in. So if you're feeling unseen, emotionally stuck, or in between chapters, or you just need a space to be heard and find clarity, feel free to DM me here or send me an email at ivsznz@gmail.com. Again, that is ivsznz@gmail.com for more information on the coaching sessions. Also, I have a Discord for everybody who wants to be part of the Four Seasons community. It is free $99, so please, we'll welcome you with open arms. On the Discord, you'll get notifications, announcements, connect with the Four Seasons community, get notified every time I go live or whenever I upload to YouTube, putting that in the chat as well. YouTube's in the chat. Yeah, so please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free $99. I have all of my past podcast episodes uploaded over there sometime. But it's a good portion over there already, so I'm catching up. I'm trying to think. Also, I also stream every Saturday here on this channel at 11 a.m. EST for a co-working stream. So if you're new to what a co-working stream is, it is a place where we promote accountability, goal completion, and have a sense of community. So if you have things that you need to get done, chores, bills, hobbies, and stuff that you want to get done, for me, it is the time where I clean my house, right? And so at the end of the stream, my house is clean. Throughout the stream, we have breaks where we play little games, word games, kind of like Scrabble or Words with Friends. That's what it's called, words on stream. So if that's something you're interested in or want to be a part of, please feel free to come here every Saturday at 11 a.m. EST, again, here on this channel. All right, y'all. I think that is everything. Thank you to all of the supporters. Thank you to the Four Seasons community. Thank you to the followers, the lurkers, subscribers, and everybody in between. I appreciate you guys so much. And with that being said, be good to yourselves and be good to others, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.